Hey guys! In the previous video lesson, we learned how to factor polynomials using common factors and grouping. In this video, we'll be learning more about factoring, and the new method that we're going to be learning is called trinomial factoring. First of all, let's understand what is a trinomial. Trinomial means three terms. So when a polynomial has three terms, it's called a trinomial. And the general way of writing the polynomial is ax squared plus bx plus c. So when a polynomial is in this form, it is going to be called trinomial, and the factoring that is applicable on this trinomial is called trinomial factoring. Now trinomial factoring is of two types. The first type is when a is equal to 1. And the second type is when a is not equal to 1. Let's take up examples when a is equal to 1. Let's say we have a trinomial of this example, x squared plus 3x plus 2. We see our a is not there, so not there means a is 1. Our first step of trinomial factoring is to multiply a and c. We'll see this is our a, this is our b, and this is our c. So if I multiply 1 with 2, I get my product same as my c value, as my a is 1. My next step is to find out two numbers that give me a product of AC, and in this particular case my product of AC is 2, and my sum of B. In this case my B is 3. So I need a product of 2 and I need a sum of 3. And the two numbers that give me a product of 2 is 2 and 1. These similar two numbers, when I multiply, I get a 2. These same two numbers, when I add, I get a 3. So I'm getting a sum of 3 and I'm getting a product of 2. So the two numbers that I need to use is 2 and 1. My third step is to write the final answer in factored form. So my question was 1x squared plus 3x plus 2. It can be written as x plus 2, x plus 1. That's it. The two numbers that I found out, that was 2 and 1, I just write them with my x in one bracket and x in another bracket. So one number is 2, I'm going to write it down with x in one bracket. Another number is 1, that I'm going to write it down with x in another bracket. And this gives me the answer, and we're done. Let's take up an example where a is not equal to 1. The example is 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. Again, we can see we have the question in ax squared plus bx plus c form. So my a is 2, b is 5, and c is 2. My first step in factoring when a is not equal to 1, I would have to do the same thing as I did when a was equal to 1, is multiply a and c. My a is 2 and my c is also 2, so my product is 4. The next step is find two numbers that give me a product of AC. In this case, the product of AC is 4 and the sum of B. So these are all my general steps. Two numbers that gives me product of AC, sum of B. These general steps are going to be similar for both when a is equal to 1 or a is not equal to 1. My sum is 5 in this case, as my b is 5. So now I need the product of 4 and I need the sum of 5. What are the two numbers that can give me a product of 4 and sum of 5 is 4 and 1. When I multiply 4 with 1, I get a 4. When I add 4 with 1, I get a 5. If I try any other products, for example, if I try 2 times 2, gives me 4 as a product, but 2 plus 2 does not give me 5. That also gives me 4 as a sum. So I'm going to rule this option out. I need my product to be 4 and I need my sum to be 5. As my product has to be equal to AC and my sum has to be equal to. Now once I'm able to find out these two numbers, and the two numbers are 4 and 1, I'll do my third step. And in this case, my third step does not give me the answer. Third step is to rewrite the question by splitting the middle term, and the middle term is b, into these two numbers found in step 2. So my question was 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. I'm going to rewrite the question. I'm not going to touch my ax squared. I'm not going to touch my c. All I'm going to do is just rewrite the middle term into these two numbers that are found in step 2. And the two numbers that I found in step 2 are 4 and 1. 4 and 1. So I would write this down as 4x plus 1x. You have to note that this variable is also going to stay with these two numbers. So I'm going to split this 5x into 4x plus 1x. Now you see I have 4 terms, and once I have 4 terms, I continue doing grouping and common factors. So that's my fourth step. Continue solving this problem using grouping method. If you're unsure about how to do grouping, watch my previous video that can help you do grouping. So I'm going to do grouping on this now. My first step is to group the first two terms and the last two terms together. Then I take my common factor out of the first two terms, and that is 2x. I'm left with x plus 2 here. Here I have nothing in common, no variable and no number. So if nothing is in common, I take out one common, and I'm left with 1x plus 2 as is inside. It's a 1x or it's just as x. It just means the same thing. So in this step, I can see that I have two terms, both have x plus 2 as a common bracket. I take out x plus 2, my common bracket out. I'm left with 2x plus 1. And this is how I got my final answer. Let's do more examples of mixed up problems. Let's say the question is x squared minus x minus 2. Now always remember, when there is no number, you can put the number as 1. So my b is negative 1 and my c is negative 2. I can write it on side just to make sure that you understand it. B is negative 1 and C is negative 2. Always remember, the sign comes with the constant numbers. Now my first step is to multiply A and C. So when I multiply A and C, I get my product of AC to be A and C multiplied gives me a negative 2. And my sum that I'm looking for is my B value, and that is negative 1. Two numbers that give me a product of negative 2 and sum of negative 1 are negative 2 and 1, because when I multiply negative 2 with 1, I get a negative 2, and when I add negative 2 and 1, I get a negative 1. As this example is A equal to 1 type, so all we have to do is just write on the answer straight away using these two numbers that we have obtained with x. Since this is with a minus sign, I'll put an x minus 2. And this is with a plus sign, I'll put an x plus 1. And this is my final answer. Let's do another example. X squared plus 8x plus 15. Now the first step is, we can write on A, B, C. A is 1. B is plus 8. No sign means plus. C is 15. No sign means plus. You can put a plus, or you don't want to put any sign. That's fine, because no sign means plus. So the product of AC is the first step, and that is 1 times 15 is 15. Next, we know the product is 15, and we are looking for sum to be 8. What are the two numbers that can give us the product of 15 is 3 and 5. And the same two numbers can add up to give you an 8. Multiply to give you a 15. So these are the two numbers we are going to be using. So the result is going to be x plus 3, x plus 5. Let's do another question. and that is x squared minus 2x minus 15. My a is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 15. So my first step is to find out product of AC, and that is 1 times negative 15. That gives us negative 15. So my product is negative 15, and the sum that I'm looking for is a negative 2. I think of two numbers, and let's say my numbers are negative 3 and plus 5. When I multiply these two numbers, I get a negative 15. When I add these two numbers, I get a positive 2. Now I just noticed that my product is right, but my sum value is right, sign is not right. That means the numbers that I selected are correct, but their signs are not correct. So I'll take another way around. I'm going to cross this option out. Now I'm working with my product again with negative 15. I'm going to use my 3 with a positive sign and 5 with a negative sign. When I multiply, I get a negative 15. My sum is a negative 2, which is plus 3 minus 5. When I add, I get a negative 2 sum. Now everything is on the right track. I have a plus 3, I have a minus 5. I can write down my result as x plus 3, x minus 5. If you can do all this work mentally, you don't have to show this. This is just for you to understand it. After this step, you can straight away go to this step, and that can give you a complete answer.